Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namavom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vashata Deshatarini Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namusute Namo Brahmana Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagadhitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Te Namaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanasute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav ki jai, Namacharya Das Thakur ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay, who's the attendance link? Okay. So I welcome everyone to today's class. So we are at chapter 18, Moksha Sanyasa Yoga, or the perfection of renunciation. So basically, so far whatever we have covered, and it is said, Prabhupada writes that, says that in by 17 chapters, right? It's almost Bhagavad Gita, everything. Krishna has covered everything what is to be told. Starting from the karma yoga and then bhakti yoga and devotion knowledge, everything is being covered. So this is basically on like the second chapter itself is said to be the summary of all the of Bhagavad Gita, because all topics have been touched in the chapter 2 itself, and then we see that everything has been elaborated in all the other chapters. So this is again as a summary revision kind of, right? So we can just, we will know what all we have studied so far. So it is a summary of all of it in this chapter. So, all glories to Sri Sri Radha Govinda. Stricted blessings and Srila Prabhupada's blessings. So the chapter 17. What was the name of the chapter? 17. Surya. What was the name of the chapter 17?
Divisions of faith.
Yeah, divisions of faith. What are the three modes? Divisions of faith in mode of? Can't hear you.
Three modes, Mataji.
Yeah, mode of goodness.
Mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance.
Yeah,
and worship in the modes.
And what is the? Is it okay? Is it good just being in mode of goodness? What does Krishna say? I mean, we learned in chapter 14 only that all the three modes are also. It is conditioned, no? Because even in the mode of goodness, it is conditioned by happiness and knowledge. One get conditioned by these three things. So then again, there is no scope for liberation. So one has to aspire for pure mode of goodness, no? By worshipping Vasudeva.
Yeah.
So in previous chapter, so it starts with Arjuna's question that what is the faith of someone who is doing worship? It's not that they are like atheist or they're not believer of God, but then they do their own worship, which is not mentioned in scriptures. So such kind of people, then Krishna explains that even the faith is based on the three modes. And we saw like how the food differ. I mean, the taste of every individual differs based on the mood he is in. And the sacrifices one performs in three modes, austerity in three modes, charity in three modes. And then the conclusion was whatever we perform, no, when we start, before doing the activity, it starts with the Om, and Tat is the process of the activity, and Sat is when we conclude that activity, so that everything is being offered to the Supreme Lord. That is what is the meaning of Om Tat Sat. So we'll see today's, so there are big chapter. We have 78 shlokas in this chapter, and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, almost 10 sections are there, A to J. So attachment 18.1 to 12 will say acting with detachment is true renunciation and brings freedom from reaction. So basically the same question was asked by Arjuna in chapter 3 and also in the chapter 5. Means regarding renunciation, no? What is called as real renunciation? And but here he is asking about the purpose of that. No? And 18.13 to 18, conclusion of Sankhya and Vedanta, actions directed by super soul bring freedom from reaction. So we will see like how for every action there are 5 causes for that. And 19 to 40, entanglement of the three modes. 41 to 48, worshipping the Lord through one's occupational work is true renunciation and brings freedom from reactions. 49 to 55, from Jnana Yoga to pure devotional service. 56 to 60, working in pure devotional service. And 61 to 63, surrender to the super soul. 64 to 66, the most confidential knowledge of all, become a pure devotee of Krishna. Actually, if we see every chapter, Krishna ends saying that the highest is Bhakti Yoga. No, even in the every chapter we can see that. Even in chapter 6, Yoginam api sarvesham madgate nantaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamo mataha. So of all the yogis, because there are different yogis, karma yogi, jnana yogi. So of all them, Bhakti yogi or who is engaged in devotional service is considered to be perfect according to the Lord. Even in chapter 12, Krishna says that when Arjuna asked out, which is perfect form of worship, either impersonal worship, because he sees the Vishwarup form of the Lord. So should we worship the Vishwarup form? Is it the highest? Because that was so effulgent and it was covering whole universe, the three worlds. So people shouldn't get confused, no? So that was the question. There also Krishna says that worshipping my personal form, whoever worship personal form of me, the two-handed Shama Sundar Roop, that is to be the perfect. So many places he has emphasized that devotional worship to the Lord is the highest. And 67 to 71, preaching and studying Bhagavad Gita. So what will be the benediction for someone who is preaching or studying the Bhagavad Gita? So that the Lord will tell. And the last section, Arjuna firmly fixes his mind, right? So firmly fixed. All his doubts get cleared, and finally he was ready to fight. So that's where the Lord, I mean, the song of God, this is said to be Bhagavad Gita. So that there it ends when Arjuna agrees to fight. So section A, acting with detachment is true renunciation and brings freedom from reaction. So first 1 to 6, a true sannyasi does not renounce his activities but renounces the fruits of his activities. 7 to 12, renouncing one's prescribed duties in illusion is ignorance. Renouncing one's prescribed duties out of fear is passion, but dutifully performing one's prescribed duties with detachment is renunciation in goodness. Such renounces suffer no reaction. So the summary of the first 6 chapters. So we know that Bhagavad Gita has been divided in 3 sections. First 6 sections where Krishna will speak about the Karma Yoga, how one can connect or understand Lord by one's own work, by engaging in karma. So karma means based on one's nature, no? The swadharma, it is said, like today in even 18th chapter, Krishna stressed that. Even in chapter 3, we saw how one has to perform based on the ashrama he is in. So even by doing that, everyone can attain perfection. Chaturvarnyam maya system guna karma vibhagashaha. So Krishna says, I have made the caste system based on guna and karma. So accordingly, how one should perform. So that was, and then how engaging in fruitive actions can be, can make us bind in this material world only, right? We saw the example of King Durga in chapter 5, Karma Yoga. So, and in the chapter 6, we see that how Bhakti Yoga is highest than the Ashtanga Yoga, because Krishna first explains about the Ashtanga Yoga and how tough it is. No? And when Arjuna says that, I cannot do this, Krishna, no, this yoga seems very difficult for me because the mind, it is very difficult to control the mind. And then Krishna says that, then he gives that with the detachment and with the practice, one can control the mind. And then finally he declares Karma Yoga to be the highest. And the next 6 chapters we see completely pure devotional service. So how Krishna, I mean, we are all part and parcel of the Lord, no? That everything belongs to Krishna's energies, may it be material or the spiritual. Matta parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya. Mai sarvamidam protam sutre manigana iva. So everything, whatever is there in this universe, all planets standing in its place, it's because of my energy, no? And then he says that there is some higher, there are 2 entities. One is the material energy, the other one is superior to it, which are the living entities. So he explains that in his different energies in chapter 7 and chapter 9. And then chapter 8, basically how to leave this material body and how one should cultivate consciousness throughout the life. So Krishna says there, like, if you remember me at the time of death, you will surely attain me. But then what is the how one should practice that? By remembering all through tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyacha. So he says, so all the time think of me and fight, not that give up everything and then engage in devotional service. He never said that. You do as a kshatriya whatever is your duty, but then think of me. So we saw, and then Guhyatamam, more deeper confidential knowledge. Like the confidential knowledge is how with all body, mind, and soul engaged in devotional service. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. No, Krishna says how to engage in devotional service. All the time till then he was saying that devotional service is best. Then he says how to engage in devotional service is explained in chapter 9. And we see the Achintya Beda Abheda Tattva. And then we see in the 10th chapter, Krishna's different opulences. No? How else, even an atheist or a non-believer of God also can see, like by seeing nature, how one can perceive. Even if some people appreciate nature, but they will not accept the God. So even they are also dependent on Krishna, how even Krishna, everything is representation of Krishna. We see that. Everything that is beautiful in the world is Krishna's energy. And no, Rasoham Apsu Kaunteya, I'm the water I'm the taste in the water. In chapter 7, he says. And then we see that in chapter 11, so after hearing all opulences, Arjuna wanted to see Krishna's Vishwarup form. Then Krishna showed him the Vishwarup form, and he was amazed and also horrified. He was afraid because he could see in the Kalarup like all the soldiers on both the sides, except the Pandavas, were all being swallowed by the Vishwarup. So he says that he could see the future. Krishna showed him the future also. So then he understood that he's just a instrument. No? That's how then Arjuna understands, and he asks forgiveness that I thought he accepted him as a God. No? He already accepted in chapter 10 that he's the Supreme Lord. Param Brahma Parandhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adi Devamajam Vibhum. So he accepted that you are the Supreme Brahman. So, but then to clarify doubts of the people of Kali Yuga, he again asked to show, he wanted to glorify the Lord. So he asked him to show the Vishwarup. So finally Krishna obliged and show him the Vishwarup, and then on Arjuna's request, he also showed the 400 form and then 200 form. And then the 12th chapter, detailing it is Krishna explains how like different stages of how one can do bhakti. If one cannot engage 24 hours in bhakti, then what are the different options have been given? No, at least, or you can engage in the sadhana bhakti, or then nishkama karma yoga, or sakama karma yoga, means giving one portion, something from our earning to devotional activity. So that is also possible. Otherwise, cultivate knowledge. Otherwise, renounce the activity, renounce the fruit of action. So various things has been explained. And from 13, we see that basically it's mainly between the relationship between the soul, super soul, and the material world. That was all about in chapter 13. And we know, like, because of our association with the different things in material nature, we are getting a different birth. Karana guna sangosya sadasadyoni janma. So all that 84 lakh species is because of the association, we understand in chapter 13. And then what is those association? Why are we associating with different things? That has been explained in chapter 14, the different modes of material nature. No? Because if you associate with mode of goodness, what will happen? What will be the destination? Urdhvam gacchanti satvasta madhye tishtanti urdhvam gacchanti satvasta madhye tishtati rajasa, and then jaganya guna sammuda adho gacchanti tamasa. So if one cultivate mode of goodness, he can go to higher planets like heavenly planet. Cultivating mode of passion will make him again take birth in this earthly planet. And if somebody engage in sinful activities or in a mode of ignorance, he will go down to the hellish planets. So that was we understood in. So one has to, but then whoever engage in the service of Lord Krishna will help them to cut off from all the three modes. It is just like three chains. No, golden chain is a sattva guna. Silver chain is a what you call rajoguna, Tamoguna, you can say iron chain. We don't want to be tied by any chain. It is all binding only. So Krishna says, come out of the three modes. And then chapter 15, then Krishna explains that comparison between material world and the spiritual world, and why we should go there. Krishna says, Mamai Vamsha Jivaloka Sanatana, because you are all my fragmental parts. So so you have to come back to me. No, it's not your real place to live, and it is actually this dukkhalayam ashashvatam. He says this is not world to be a happy place. We how much ever we try to be happy here, there are so many miseries. Na, we have the primary miseries, janma mrityu jara vyadis for everyone. How much ever educated or knowledgeable is, everyone has to go through these phases. And even the three miseries, the kleshas, adhyatmika, adibhautika, and adidaivika klesha. So these kleshas are there, but in my world, even sun is not required, no? And Krishna says, Natad bhasayate surya nashashankona pavakaha. So sun is itself eliminating all Vaikuntha planet because of Krishna's effulgence. And we see like how much dependent we are on the Lord, how in like Krishna becoming the life air, and he's digesting the food, becoming the fire of digestion in our stomach. So and then from him coming the knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. So all these things will make us understand how much Krishna is actually merciful on us, because he has not just sent us here and he has given the Vedas so that we understand how it works, material world, but also he is helping us in each and every way by giving necessary facilities so that we can enjoy and satisfy our desire. And finally, we understand that Krishna is the ultimate goal. No? So that was being explained. And then chapter 16 explains about the fruits of that tree, the banyan tree. That is the cultivating good, like good deed, one can become a sura, that is the divine quality can be developed. And when one cultivates the demonic quality, then he will be called as asura. Whoever don't follow the scriptures and words of God, so they are called as asuras. And detailing what will be their destination, what will happen such people who don't believe in shastras or in the words of God. Krishna says there, no, they'll be forcefully sent to the asuri yoni. He says that they'll be put in a womb of a mother, like from where there is no hope for liberation. They'll such life they would get. And then in last week we saw chapter 17, how the faith are in different modes. So we'll see a summary in this chapter. So that was just thought to Arjuna uvacha Sanyasasya mahabaho tattvamiccami veditum Tyagasya cha rishikesha pratakkeshi nishudhana.
Arjuna said, O mighty armed one, I wish to understand the purpose of renunciation, Tyaga, and of the renounced order of life, Sanyasa, O killer of Keshi demon, master of senses. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So here two things Arjuna is asking. So Krishna, you have been stressing more on that one should renunciate, no? Tyaga. So and then what is really actual sannyasa? Is it like giving up everything? That is that and taking to devotional service? Is that the sannyasa? Or and what is renunciation or the sacrifice or tyaga? Is it so these two things, please clarify me. And he mentions here that, oh killer of Keshi demon. So this is in picture we can see this is a demon which is called as Keshi, and which Krishna killed. No, so because Krishna is wherever there is a doubt, doubts are compared to demons. So because when there is a doubt, we become there is no clarity in decision. So he wanted a clarity. So he compares the doubt to demon. So just like how you have killed the demon, and you please kill my doubts. That is what Arjuna is asking here. Shri Bhagavanubhacha Kamyanam Karmanam Nyasam Sanyasam Kavayo Viduhu Sarva Karma Palatyagam Prahustyagam Vichakshanaha.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the giving up of activities that are based on material desire is what great learned men call the renounced order of life, sannyasa. And giving up the results of all activities is what the wise call renunciation, yaga. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So what is Krishna telling here? So giving up activities that are based on material desire. So not working for one's own sense gratification. So it is not that giving all the activities. That is not right. Even no giving Arjuna. What did Arjuna tell in the chapter 3? And he said that I mean, I want to give up everything and go and forest, and I want to sit and meditate. But that is not the thing Krishna is saying. One should not give the activities based on material desire. But whatever we are doing, if it is for Krishna, then it is no more material. It becomes spiritual. One should not give up the activity on material desire. If he is fighting, no, for his own personal cause, then it is a material desire. But then he is fighting for pleasure of Lord, so that becomes a spiritual. That no more is material. So that is what great learned men call the renounced order of life. So this thing is a thing like everywhere we see in Shastras that a stress is given to like the Shruti Pramana means the hearing. So hearing from great men is always accepted. That is the highest actually. The three pramanas, no? Pratyaksha Praman, Anumana Praman, and Shabda Praman. So Shabda Praman means by hearing from the authorities. So that is considered to be the highest. So Krishna is also saying that this is what great men tell. And what is the sannyasa? Sannyasa is again tyaga means not giving up, not having, giving up results of activities. No, only not being attached to the fruit of action. So that is called as uh, renunciation. So if somebody is doing a sacrifice for elevation of to a higher planets, no, that sacrifice is, it does not make purification of heart because there is a desire there. So not that one. Krishna is talking about nitya. I mean, not. I mean, activity in the for pleasure of the Lord. No, such activities. And also Rupa Goswami, Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, he says, Anasakyasya vishayan yatarham upayunjatah nirbande Krishna sambande yukta vairagya uchyate. So anything using in the service of Lord, no? So that nothing becomes material, no? Whatever we are using, even the material things, but if it is used in the service of Lord, so that is no more material. Even if we are having any technology or like you're having a laptop or if a mobile, if you are using for joining class or using that for spreading Krishna consciousness, that is no more material. That is in the service of Lord. So that is called as Yukta Vairagya. Uh, so that is what Krishna is talking about here, is the real renunciation. And Krishna further says, yes, Prabhu, you can read.
Yeah. Some learned men declare that all kinds of fruitive activities should be given up. But there are yet other sages who maintain that acts of sacrifice, charity, and finance should never be abandoned. 18.4. O best of the Bharatas, now hear my judgment about renunciation. A tiger among men, renunciation is declared in the scriptures to be of three kinds based on the modes of nature. Hare Krishna.
So, check your mic actually. I mean, okay,
Is it
last
okay?
line I couldn't. Yeah, now I can hear you. So
Yeah, I'll read.
renunciation. No, you can just
Yeah.
read the last one, 8.4.
18.4. O best of the Bharatas, now hear my judgment about renunciation. O tiger among men, renunciation is declared in the scriptures to be of three kinds based on the modes of nature. Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So here Krishna is saying that even in those days, there were two kind of people. No, some people like the sages, some believed that fruitive activity should not be given up. I mean, fruitive activity means what? Giving a animal sacrifice, and from there, like some benefit they get, no, by doing that. Doing the animal sacrifice for some fruitive results. Or, but then there were some sages, no, that is not right. One should not do himsa. No, there were dual thoughts about it, and some believed it should be done, and some believed it should not be done. No, so yeah, Krishna says that there are two kind of things. So, but now hear from me, what is the real renunciation? Yajnadana tapakkarma natyajyam karyameva tat yajnodanam tapaschaiva pavanani manishinam.
Acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance are not to be given up, but should be performed. Indeed, sacrifice, charity, and penance purify even the great souls. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So Krishna is declaring that acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance are not to be given up, should be performed. So for this Kali Yuga, we don't do this other sacrifices. The sacrifices, the of all the sacrifices in chapter 10, Krishna says that Yagnanam Japa Yagnosmi. Actually, in Kali Yuga, it's easy way to approach the Lord is through Nama Sankirtan, because that is more dear to the Lord. In Kali Yuga, no other way. No, Hari Nama what is that? Uh, Harer Nama eva kevalam kalau nasti eva nasti gatir anyata. So in Kali Yuga, there is no other sacrifice required than chanting of the holy name of the Lord. So Prabhupada has given us that 16 rounds every day one has to chant. No, so it's not that difficult. If you are doing attentive chanting, you will develop the taste. When we do attentively, we will develop the taste in chanting, and that will purify our mind and heart, no, by chanting. So that is what Krishna is saying here. Pavanani manishinam. When you do that sacrifice or the chanting, it is Cheto Darpana Marjana, no? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says it will purify our heart, which is so much of dirt is there in our heart. All the anarthas are there. Everything will gradually go by chanting of the holy name. So it is to be performed even by great souls. So yeah, I think you know the story of the Daksha, right? Who was performing sacrifice. I think in level 1 you would have known this. I will not go in detail here. So actually, in short, I will tell. Basically, he was performing sacrifice, and his son-in-law is Lord Shiva. His daughter is Sati. So when he was doing, he didn't. He was supposed to keep a uh, place. I mean, for his. While doing yagna, there has to be a separate seat has to be kept for Lord Shiva, which he had not kept. And when Sati comes there, though Lord Shiva wants her that because he never had a respect for his son-in-law in first place, Daksha, because he thought that he's always in roaming in graveyard and putting all vibhudis on his body, and his followers are all the ghost and these people. So he didn't have respect. And even after telling not to go, Sati says that his wife, no, it is my father's, function happening. He's doing sacrifice though, so I don't need an invitation because there was no invitation for them. But she sees all the devatas going in different airplanes, very well dressed. She felt like she has to go, and she goes and find out that so she sees that there was no respect for her husband. She, in the sacrificial fire itself, she jumps and she leaves her body. So then Lord Shiva comes. He was very angry towards him, the King Daksha, and he kills him. He takes out his uh, uh, head. But then what happens? All the sages and demigods, everybody starts praying because the sacrifice cannot stop. Because sacrifice is for well-being of whole universe. So then what happens? Everybody approach Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu gives them the head of a goat. So after that, he understood Taksha, like he begged forgiveness from the Lord, and then the yajna continued. So this is was the importance of sacrifice. Even the great souls, they also perform the. So these things purify the people, persons. एतानि एतान्यपि तु कर्माणि संगम त्यक्त्वा फलानि च कर्तव्यानीति मे पार्थ निश्चितं मतमुत्तमम्.
All these activities should be performed without any expectation of result. They should be performed as a matter of duty, O son of Pruta. That is my final opinion. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So any activity performing as a duty. So that has to be done. No. So here we see in the picture somebody he's saving an animal. No, it is not like he will get anything from it, but then it's a matter of duty, because all living entities are Krishna's part and parcel. So Krishna says that I am father. No, aham bija pradapita. So in a way, like they are our brothers and sisters kind. So that is what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So as a matter of duty, helping one another and having compassion towards other living entities. So that is a matter of duty. So that is what Krishna declares here. Without expecting any result, one is performing. नियतस्य तु सन्न्यासः कर्मणो नोपपद्यते मोहात् तस्य परित्यागः तामसः परिकीर्तितः.
Prescribed duties should never be renounced. If one gives up his prescribed duties because of illusion, such renunciation is said to be in the mode of ignorance. Hare Krishna.
So prescribed duties, again, basically it divided into 4 ashramas and 4 varnas. No, like for each varna, like Brahmana has certain duty, Kshatriya has a certain duty, Vaishya and Shudra. So everybody has a prescribed duty, and one should not renounce it based on that. So Arjuna, being a Kshatriya, he has to fight. He should not give up. So because of illusion. So if somebody gives up such activities, and that is said to be in a mode of ignorance. Dukkhamityeva yat karma kaya klesha bhayat tyajet sakrutva rajasam tyagam naiva tyaga phalam labhet.
Anyone who gives up prescribed duties as troublesome or out of fear of bodily comfort is said to have renounced in the mode of passion. Such action never leads to the elevation of renunciation. Hare Krishna.
So in the previous slide, Krishna explains about the mode of how the giving up of activity in mode of ignorance. So I mean, giving up the prescribed duties, not performing. So that is in mode of ignorance. But here, because of kaya klesha bhayat, means bodily discomfort. So taking up some activity, not completing because of it is difficult to do it. No? Leaving the work in between, half done, or not doing, not attempting to do. Such activities are rajasam. Like somebody is not I mean, cooking is very difficult, so they do once in wow, and then keep in fridge and eat for many days. So those things are like because of rajasic. So kaya klesha bhayat. So bodily discomfort. Oh, who will get up and do all these things? Let me relax. I'll do today and I will not do for next 3 days. So something like that. So that is in a mode of passion. Yeah.
If one stops earning, thinking that to be a fruitive activity, if one does not rise early in the morning, thinking it to be troublesome, such giving up of activities is in the mode of passion. One must earn and offer the money to Krishna consciousness activities. One must arise early in the morning and advance his transcendental Krishna consciousness. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
So when Prabhupada, Prabhupada's guru, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, knew that Prabhupada was, he know Prabhupada, that he was so dedicated, and once he was like, but he was very, I mean, he's taking care of business very well that time, so he didn't have much time to devote his for Krishna conscious work. But whenever he had time, he was coming and meeting his guru. So one of his disciple of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada tells him that I think now Srila Prabhupada can become take up the much responsibility, and he can be a president. No, so then he says that no need. He knows he will do when the time comes. No need to tell him. No, he had so much faith in him. So basically, he never thought that because he is engaged in the material work, he cannot do Krishna consciousness. So here also, Prabhupada also says it's not necessary that one has to give his work for and then do all the time in temple or like that. It's not expected. But then, if you're whatever earning somebody is doing, but if they can give, if they are doing for Krishna, that is more higher than so because this we can understand, because those time Krishna conscious was just developing stage, and obviously a lot of money was required, no, to establish more temples and to spread the Krishna conscious. So obviously money is also required. Not if everybody becomes brahmacharis, then who will earn or who will feed? So that is where even grihasthas also play a very important role. So money earned, and when it is offered to Krishna, then that is not considered to be a fruitive activity. Karyamityeva yat karma niyatam kriyate Arjuna sangam tyaktva palam chaiva satyagas satviko mataha.
O Arjuna, when one performs his prescribed duty only because it ought to be done, and renounces all material association and all attachment to the fruit, his renunciation is said to be in the mode of goodness. Hare Krishna.
So performing that any activity as a matter of duty. So Prabhupada says how to live in this material world. So just like how Prabhupada lived, Padma Patram Ivam Bhasa. No, in chapter 5 we see how one should have the association with this material world. So it is like the leaf of a lotus, though it is in water, it is untouched by water. Water does not stand on the leaf, no, it just falls. So similarly, though we are associating with the material world, we should be untouched. We should not take. It is said, you give your association, but never take their association. So you can give Krishna conscious to them, but then don't become materialistic by their association. So that is to be said in Sattva Guna. No? Not becoming lazy to follow the religious principles given in scriptures. No? So, such kind of tyaga. No? Tyaga means not on renunciation of material activities. That is the in mode of goodness. Niyatam kuru karmatvam means every day. So, right, every day getting up early or chanting, paying obeisances. So, reading the scriptures, following the instructions given by acharyas. So, when we do all this, we can overcome the anxieties, no, in our life. Is this the same? Yeah, can read this.
But he who performs his prescribed duty only because it ought to be done and renounces all attachment to the fruit, his renunciation is of the nature of goodness, O Arjuna. The same
Yeah,
thing
so
in a
this
reverse.
is, yeah, so this is in a from the purport. So basically, one cannot because I have to do it, one has to perform. Not be, I mean, because everybody has to work. Even there is a saying that nahi suptasya simhasya pravishanti mukhe mrugaha, means even a lion being a king of a jungle, he has to fight for his food. It's not that food will come to his mouth. So everybody has to work. So that is as a matter of duty. One should not become lazy, and that is said to be in mode of goodness. So these three shlokas, 7, 8, 9. So in the 18.7, prescribed duties, yeah, mode of ignorance. In mode of ignorance, a person does not do prescribed duty. The reason being illusion. No, that is a we see in the chapter 17. Pramada alasya nidrabihi. That is the pramada means madness. Alasya, laziness, nidrabihi, too much of sleep. So these are the qualities, I mean, the in mode of ignorance. So that person will not do the prescribed duties. In 8, we see is giving up the prescribed duties because of fear. So what will, I mean, he's afraid to continue that. So, and in the mode of goodness, as a matter of duty, one performs.
The,
Yes, Prabhu.
yeah, the intelligent renouncer situated in the mode of goodness, neither hateful of inauspicious work nor attached to auspicious work, has no doubts about work. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So, and further it is here, the wheel of samsara, rebirth, carrying the soul through different species of life. For one who is not renounced, the threefold fruits of action, desirable, undesirable, and mixed, accrue after death. But those who are in the renounced order, but this is from 12, of life have no such results to suffer or enjoy. Yeah, so basically, Arjuna was thinking that killing is bad, no? But then when Krishna has himself come because to establish dharma, he wanted to kill everyone because they were all very irreligious. They were not following as per the whatever prescribed in Vedas. So he want to annihilate everyone. So working for the Lord, that will be in mode of goodness. The intelligent renouncer situated in mode of goodness, neither hateful, means he will not hate, oh, why should I do this? Because initially Arjuna said, this is very sinful, I cannot do. He gave different reasons. No? So he does not see as auspicious or inauspicious work. The Lord Hanuman, he burnt Lanka, no, by fire. So he does not think that that is inauspicious to do that because he is doing for service in service of Lord. So nothing auspicious or inauspicious. It's a for there is no sinful reaction when one does for the Lord. One does not hate anyone or anything that troubles his body. Work in proper place at proper time without fearing the troublesome effects. So these are symptoms of proper renunciation.
It is indeed impossible for an embodied being to give up all activities, but he who renounces the fruits of action is called one who has truly renounced. Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So in this picture, we can, anyone knows who is this in the picture? Identify him. Who is this devotee?
Hare
Have you
Krishna,
seen him?
Mata. Yeah,
Yes,
is that
Mata.
for the alphabet food? Yeah.
No, his name is Amrish Das. Yeah. So grandson of Ford, Henry Ford, correct? Yeah. So yes, he's Amrish Das Prabhu. So he is a crorepati, right? So he has given more than 350 crores to for building this Mayapur temple of Vedic Planetarium. TOVP is coming up, right? So he is a devotee initiated, I mean, from Prabhupada, and he was working now also working. So but when in the home, he's a proper Vaishnava. So somebody saw him like outside. He's uh, very dressed like in his attire required for in a company. He was like that, but at home he was leading a very simple life, and we can see in dhoti and this one and wearing tilak, and he was very humble. So when he was asked, right, how is he so humble? How is he able to lead his life? So in it's very difficult, no, for rich people to have such a simple life. So then he says that this life, maybe because of my past karma, I have accrued some punya, right? So because of that, I have got so many opulence. But what is the guarantee? What we'll have in next life? So he had that realization, and he said, that is why I want to dedicate my everything, kaya, vacha, manasa, no, everything to the Lord. So in that way, so here we see that that is called as real renunciation. So section B, so Jnana section. The conclusion of Sankhya and Vedanta, action directed by super soul bring freedom from reaction. Krishna cites Vedanta and analysis activities as comprised of 5 factors. This is to help us perform activities without becoming bound. Most prominent of these factors is the super soul. Acting under the super soul's direction, one is unaffected by reaction to his action.
O mighty armed Arjuna, O mighty armed Arjuna, learn from me of the 5 factors which bring about the accomplishment of all action. These are declared in Sankhya philosophy to be the place of action, the performer, the senses, the endeavor, and ultimately the super soul. Hare Krishna. Missed 12. Anishtam, Ishtam, Mishram, Cha. We missed 12. Text 12.
Okay,
isn't it?
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so here Krishna says that there are 5 factors required for any to accomplish any action. So what are those factors? One is the karta, one is the place of activity. So we can see in this picture, actually in the chapter 13 we see that this body is called a kshetra, no, the place of activity, and there is a kshetra and kshetragna. Kshetragna means the doer, the soul and the super soul, no? So similarly here we can see, for if there is some factories coming up, there is a place, no? So then what else is required? So place of action, then performer, a person, the who will perform that work, who will build, no, we have different kind of people, engineers, workers, laborers, no, everybody are required. So that is performer. And then the senses. So one has to, we can see here the engineers are working and they're seeing the plan, no, here eyes are involved, no, the various senses are involved, even mind is involved. And if you have to bring up a manufacturing unit, so many things are required, right? So that is endeavor, different endeavors. So if you have to do a business, there are so many other things also required. So that is different endeavor. And finally, they should be sanctioned by the Lord. Otherwise, I mean, many half, we see that it would be half constructed and it cannot complete only. Why? Because there is no approval from the authority, the final, the super soul. So same here, another example also is given here. So where we can see that a place, so there is a shop, and the shopkeeper who is the karta, And then Karanam. Karanam means instruments. So the various instruments, the senses are being involved. Like a purchaser is there, as a buyer is there, no? And the senses are involved, and different endeavor. So if he has to give advertisements, he has to give some discounts, he has to put a board everywhere so that people come and visit. So different endeavor so that he can do well. So these things are required. And then finally sanctioned by the Lord. So if it is not sanctioned, then we see that even after having everything, there may be a very big shop, they're having big advertisement, everything, but then we see very less people going there. But on contrary, there can be a small shop, but many people, okay, may with not with much effort, people may go. Or even example of like children writing the exams, IIT, no, there can be a child who is studying so hard but getting less mark. Somebody who is not studying much, but then they can get good marks also. They may putting little effort, but then it's all because Krishna's sanction also is very important. So if somebody is thinking only I am the doer, then such person is really foolish. So in next shloka, Krishna will explain that. Shariravan manobhiryat karma prarabate naraha yayam va viparitam va panchaite tasya hetavah.
Whatever right or wrong action a man performs by body, mind, or speech is caused by these five factors. Right work is that done as prescribed in the scriptures. Wrong work is that done against the scriptural injunctions. But both actions require the five factors for their complete performance. Yeah. Hare
So
Krishna.
how do we define right and wrong work? Any work which is prescribed in scriptures or which is approved by Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. So that is the right work. Or if we do as per our own thing, then we see in division of faith. No, it becomes like in mode of ignorance and passion, which is not in scriptures. So whoever doing as per the scriptures, then that is the right work. If it is not doing done, then it is wrong work. But anyway, both of them will happen. The cause is the five factors which has been explained earlier. तत्रैवं सति कर्तारम् आत्मानं केवलं तु यः पश्यत्यकृत बुद्धित्वान् न स पश्यति दुर्मतिः.
Therefore, one who thinks himself the only doer, not considering the five factors, is certainly not very intelligent and cannot see things as they are. A foolish person cannot understand that the super soul is sitting as a friend within and conducting his actions. Hare Krishna.
So if somebody thinks that whatever I've achieved in life or making good, so if he thinks it is because of my endeavor alone, there's no God, then such person is said to be foolish. He may be enjoying because of his previous past deeds. He must have done something good in previous lives. So because of that, he's reaping result. But does not mean that it will be in future also the same. No, he can fall down any time also. So if he's not considering all these five factors, then he's not intelligent. Krishna says that he's not very intelligent and cannot see as the things as they are. So I think similar we see even in chapter 3, 27 shloka. Prakriti kriyamani gunai karmani sarvashah ahankara vimudhatma karta hamiti manyate. So because of this three mode of nature, conditioned by three modes, a person thinks that I am the doer. With this doership mentality, why is it coming? Because of the false ego. I am thinking because of that, because of my position, I am able to do this. No, because I am rich, I am able to do this. So all this because, or I am the CEO of company, or like identifying this false ego makes one believe that all because of me, everything is happening. There's no God behind. No? That is again demonic nature. But Krishna says everything, even the intelligence, who is giving? Krishna only, na? Matta smriti jnanam apohanam cha. From me comes the remembrance and intelligence, smriti, memory. So one cannot think that everything is done by me because it is again from the Lord. The modes control all the activities. Section C. One's work according to the 5 factors is dictated by 3 modes of material nature. This include one's knowledge, action, performance, understanding, determination, happiness. All activities within the universe are thus controlled by 3 modes. So now Krishna will explain how, based on uh, uh, the modes one is situated in, how his knowledge is, action is, and the understanding or the determination, happiness, everything based on 3 modes. So summary of yoga ladder have been explained here from verse 19 to 66. Okay. यस्य नाहङ्कृतो भावः बुद्धिर्यस्य न लिप्यते हत्वापि स इमान् लोकान् न हन्ति न निबध्यते.
One who is not motivated by false ego, whose intelligence is not entangled, though he kills men in this world, does not kill, nor is he bound by its actions.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
So when there is no false ego, so then he is rightly situated. He knows that he is not doing for himself, but for the Lord. Just like how Arjuna understood that he has to fight for Krishna when he saw that he is just an instrument, and not having a doership mentality. Oh, because of me, I am killing. No, he's just becoming a instrument in the hand of Krishna. So 3 kind of knowledge based on mode of material nature.
That knowledge by which one undivided spiritual nature is seen in all existences. Undivided in the divided is knowledge in the mode of goodness. That knowledge by which a different type of living entity is seen to be dwelling in different bodies is knowledge in the mode of passion. And that knowledge by which one is attached to one kind of work as the all in all, without knowledge of the truth, and which is very meager, is said to be in the mode of darkness.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
So in the knowledge in mode of goodness means seeing the undivided spiritual nature, that is the soul in everyone. So seeing that soul is different from body and the same soul, everyone are like seeing everyone on the platform of soul and not differentiating that he's a rich, poor, male, female. No, not seeing in that way, but seeing everyone, even the dog, the chapter 5 also says Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, no, the real knowledge. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Shvapakesha Pandita Samadarshinaha. So when one is situated in a mode of goodness, he is able to see everyone, a dog, a brahmana, elephant, and a cow on an equal platform. That is in a mode of, though they are looks like divided, but everyone seeing everyone like the soul and the super soul present in everyone. So that kind of knowledge, not seeing on a bodily platform, is a mode of goodness. But that knowledge which is differentiating, like seeing a dog as dog, not as a soul. So I'm superior, he is inferior. No, I'm man, he's male, female. So having those different, seeing on that level, differentiating, that knowledge is called as in mode of passion. And the knowledge which is not having, they're only not raising above the bodily comfort, only that, okay, this body is more, only thinking that I am this body and whatever I do is for satisfaction of this body. So that knowledge is mode of ignorance. So now what will be the action of people in 3 modes? What kind of action? Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Okay, I'll read. As for actions, that action in accordance with duty, which is performed without attachment, without love or hate, by one who has renounced fruitive result is called as action in mode of goodness. So
Yeah.
you have, if somebody having old parents, so you have to take care of them. So not giving up, no? And it is as a matter of duty. It's not that, okay, we have to take care, or for any, there's no obligation or there is no doubt in that. There's no why I should take care and this, but as a matter of duty, without hate. I mean, even though if it may be difficult, if they're unwell, also taking care of them without any expectation, that is in mode of goodness. But action performed with great effort by one seeking to gratify his desires, which is enacted from a sense of false ego, is called as action in mode of passion. So if somebody want to take care of parents only if they're expecting some property after they leave, maybe they have some very big money or property coming to them, so then they will do, so that because they are having that expectation, otherwise they will not. So that is something in mode of passion, and that action performed in ignorance and delusion without consideration of future bondage or consequence, which inflicts injury and is impractical. So such uh, no such impractical is said to be action in mode of ignorance. So Prabhupada says that everybody are accountable, no? Accountable to either the laws of state or to the Yamadutas, because everything is been, yeah, everything is being accounted by the Yamadutas, and at the time of death, we know like how Yamadutas came for Ajamila because he had engaged in so many sinful activities. So it is such activities are for bondage. But somehow he was lucky because Krishna gave him remembrance of Lord, and even Vishnu Dutas also had come. But then otherwise it is uh, in the mode of ignorance. There is no consideration of bondage. So he kept on engaging in sinful activities, no, for sense gratification. So that is in mode of ignorance. Or like example of Duryodhana, right? He could not be peaceful. I mean, he was able to be happy only when he could trouble the Pandavas. That is in mode of ignorance, troubling others. The action is not for any benefit. We have many examples like asuras also, like Hiranyakashipu or the Bhaumasura. So they wanted only to disturb the devatas. So such actions are mode of ignorance. Now, three kind of workers based on material nature.
The worker, the worker who is free from all material attachments and false ego, who is enthusiastic and resolute, and who is indifferent to success or failure, is a worker in the mode of goodness. But that worker who is attached to the fruits of his labor and who passionately wants to enjoy them, who is greedy, envious, and impure, and moved by happiness and distress, is a worker in the mode of passion. And that worker who is always engaged in work against the injunction of the scripture, who is materialistic, obstinate, cheating, and expert in insulting others, who is lazy, always morose, and procrastinating, is a worker in the mode of ignorance.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
So three kind of workers. So in the mode of goodness, so the person is not having any false ego, but is working very enthusiastically. No, whatever is a success or failure, he's working. So every company would like to have such a worker. No, without having. I mean, he's working. It's not that something he's getting for that. I mean, yes, everybody works for salary, but end of the day, the ownership of the work should be there. No, the ownership is not there in many people does not take ownership of the work. So, but then in Sattva Guna means he takes the ownership of the work. And in the Rajoguna, he is attached to the fruits. Okay. If he is getting some promotions, you know, or some bonus, or I mean some increment, then he is interested to work. Otherwise, he is not interested. And who is always greedy, envious, so that comparison. So this all are nature which is in mode of passion, is impure and moved by happiness and distress. So more of either he'll be happy or he'll become morose, no? And then in the mode of ignorance, we can, most of the people we can see in companies also, like they're very I mean they everybody waits for a weekend to come, not interested when Monday comes, because they're not interested to work, very lazy, obstinate, cheating, and very expert in insulting others, speaking ill about others, talking too much, wasting time. So always morose and procrastinating, not interested to go to work, very lazy. So such people, kind of workers are in mode of ignorance. So three kind of intelligence based
O
on mode
son
of
of
nature.
yeah, O son of Pruta, that understanding by which one knows what ought to be done and what ought not to be done, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, what is binding and what is liberating. That understanding is established in the mode of goodness. And that understanding, which cannot distinguish between the religious way of life and the irreligious, between action that should be done and action that should not be done. That imperfect understanding, O son of Pruta, is in the mode of passion. That understanding which considers religion to be religion and religion to be irreligion under the spell of illusion and darkness and strives always in the wrong direction, O Partha, is in the mode of ignorance.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
So what to be done, what not to be done. So these are all mentioned in the scriptures. So this intelligence, so this is the function of an intelligence which is able to discriminate what is right, what is wrong. No? So that is coming only by studying the Shastras. Otherwise, how do we know? We will be, otherwise we'll be in ignorance. We think that whatever I do, whatever is my faith is right. No, everybody thinks like that. But that is not true. So one should refer the Shastras and he is aware that what is right and what is wrong, what is to be feared, what is not to be feared. No, engaging in sinful activities, one should be feared, because you should know what the Shastras speak about by engaging. So there are 28 hells described in Bhagavatam for different activities, what will happen. So what is feared, what is binding, what is liberating. No, we are not being attached to the result, or engaging in fruitive activities is binding. That's what we understand from chapter 15. So understanding this knowledge is liberating. So that kind of understanding or the intelligence is said to be in mode of goodness. But usually in mode of passion, people don't know they're always doubtful. They're not fixed. I mean, that Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, Krishna speaks in chapter 2. Vyavasayatmika Buddhi Yekeha Kurunandana Bahushakaya Nantascha Buddhayo Vyavasayinam. So one who is fixed in intelligence, his he determination is very fixed. Like there's no duality. He knows that devotional service to the Lord is the highest. So there's no, oh no, maybe I should have done that. Oh, maybe I'm wasting time here. No, that is not there. But in mode of passion, they're always confused. What is religious and what is irreligious? And action, what is between which is right and which is not right. So that is imperfect understanding, because they are not dedicating much time for the study of the Shastras. So that makes them the intelligence in mode of passion. So in mode of ignorance, it is exact opposite to mode of goodness. They think religion to be irreligion and irreligion to be religion. So thinking whatever they are doing, that is to be right. Mode of ignorance, if people you go and see, they'll be very confident in whatever they do, but they're doing in a wrong way. No, they will never agree because they don't believe in Shastras. So they're doing out of illusion. So this is in a mode of ignorance. Determination in three modes. Yeah.
O son of Pruta, that determination which is unbreakable, which is sustained with steadfastness by yoga practice and thus controls the mind, life, and the acts of the senses, is in the mode of goodness. And that determination by which one holds fast to fruitive result in religion, economic development, and sense gratification is the nature of passion, O Arjuna. And that determination which cannot go beyond dreaming, fearfulness, lamentation, moroseness, and illusion. Such unintelligent determination is in the mode of darkness. Hare
A
Krishna.
similar thing, if you remember, we have seen this in chapter 14 also, no? Like we see that example of a temple and the buildings, so many buildings constructed, that is for passion. And then we see like something, he has blocked the way only. I mean, there's no way to climb the steps. So that kind of work, we see that is in mode of darkness. So that determination, which is unbreakable. Okay, I have decided that I have to chant 16 round, whatever it is. Like I plan my day in such a way that even if I have any other outside work, if it is coming also, which we will the person will plan in a such a way that he will finish his prescribed rounds, or he will never give up on whatever is committed or whatever is per the shastras and whatever is the guru has given. So it doesn't matter in a, if you are without completing, he will not go to sleep. No, that till night 12 o'clock. Yeah, we should not drag till then. But in some cases, if you are not able to finish in the early morning, sometimes it may go some rounds in the evening. But then you should never postpone for. Try not to postpone for next day. So that is unbreakable determination, and it sustained fastness by yoga practice and thus controls the mind. So he's able to, I mean, control on the senses, right? So he's able to control his senses. Sorry. Yeah. So control of senses is very important in spiritual life, right? Unless we have controlled senses, then mind will wander here and there, and whatever the senses ask, then mind will start uh, 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 making demands to fulfill those wishes. Correct. So one has to have control on the senses and the mind, and that is to be in the mode of goodness. So in the mode of passion, who is attached to fruitive result, so for that he will do lot of work, bahula vyasa, that is engaging in fruitive activity, working very hard for but for sense gratification. So that is in mode of uh, passion. And in mode of ignorance, nothing. Determination cannot go beyond dreaming. No, only in dream they will think, I will achieve this, I will achieve, but never, they will never execute anything. So always lamentation. Okay, another one slide, and we'll stop here. Three kinds of happiness. So,
That which in the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization, is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. That happiness which is derived from contact of the senses with their objects and which appear like nectar at first but poison at the end, is said to be of the nature of passion. And that happiness which is blind to self-realization, which is delusion from beginning to end, and which arises from sleep, laziness, and illusion, is said to be of the nature of ignorance. Hare
yeah.
Krishna.
So uh, all the actions in mode of goodness, usually when we start, it is always like poison. No, when you start a work, it is not so easy. Whatever anything we work, we take up. It's not easy to do because if you want to practice a yoga or every day, right, getting up early or going for jogging, anything habit, it is very hard initially because until we get used to it. But then when we continue, even and not considering all those things or getting up early in the morning, so it is struggle in the beginning, but then later is nectar. No, so then you can keep your health very well when you are keeping time for the taking care of your health. Obviously, it will give the good results. And so such kind of thing is in happiness in mode of goodness. So early in the Brahma Muhurta also, right? So initially, even doing one round of chanting also is a struggle. We have also all of us have come through that stage. But then how gradually we increased and we developed taste and I mean, as a order, as a sadhana bhakti, we do, though we may have not developed full taste, but then we do because it's the order of the acharya. So that will slowly awaken us to self-realization because that will purify us. So initially it is y- poison, but end is a good. That is in mode of goodness. So, but the happiness which is derived from contact of senses with their objects. So initially it appears like a nectar. No, the a boy may see a girl and then he may uh, 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 they want he want to have a relationship with the girl. No, initially he may think that it is very happy for his senses, but finally what happens, or if he approach her or if she does not agree, so then there is a lamentation. So initially it is a looks like a nectar, but then it is a poison at end. So that is in a mode of passion, because Prabhupada gives in I think in chapter 14 only, it is mainly the uh, between attraction between a male and female is characterized by mode of passion. So the happiness derived from contact of senses with object, which appears like nectar at first, but poison at the end. Even in chapter 5, Krishna says that ये हि संस्पर्शजा भोगा दुःखयो नवयैवते आद्यन्तवन्त कौन्तेय न तेषु रमते बुधः. When the senses come in contact with the sense object, then the misery begins, he says. So the wise people does not take pleasure in such things. So Krishna says. And in the more and the happiness which is blind to self-realization means only enjoying, no, or taking smoking cigarette to relieve the stress. So they don't think about what will happen later, what is the negative result of, or they may taking drugs. No, it will, even while taking also it is a problem, and later also. No, you money is also waste, and again they are going in depression and these things. So pain to pain. So goodness is pain to happiness, and then passion is happiness, then initially happiness and nectar, and then it is pain, but mode of ignorance is pain to pain only. So yeah, okay, this is last. Natad natadasti prithivyaam va divi deveshu va punah sattvam prakriti jairmuktam yaddevi syat tribir gunaihi.
There is no being existing either here or among the demigods in the higher planetary systems, which is free from these three modes born of material nature. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so this is very interesting, right? So it's not just only we human beings are bound by these three modes. There's no entity in the three planetary system, right? That includes even devatas. All the 84 lakh species, all the animals, and so the even the devatas, they are also. And there are many examples where the Lord Brahma got bewildered, Lord Indra got bewildered, right? So we see that means even the modes even act on them also. No one is freed. That is the reason for liberation only. Vishnu only can give the liberation. Liberation means what? Raising above three modes itself is a liberation. So not such people can be liberated even being in this material world. Not necessary you have to go to a spiritual world. No, that is what pure devotees aspire for. Just serving the Lord, and if you are not uh, being in three modes of material nature, that itself is liberation. No, Krishna says, no, Daivi hesham gunamai, Devi hesha gunamai mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. So the divine nature, the Devi, divine energy of mine is very difficult to overcome, that is material energy. But then mameva ye prapadyante, whoever surrender unto me, maya metam tarantite, they raise above this three mode. So that is still possible if we surrender to Lord. So Krishna says here, and okay, we'll start with the section D tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Everybody please mark the attendance. So tomorrow will be our last class, and then I hope you have all I don't know if it is shared in group already for level 3. Has it been shared? Not sure. So you can, yeah, you all register for the level 3 and please continue this journey. And whoever is doing 16 rounds can also directly enroll for Bhakti Shastri also. So either way you join both, because level 3 it will be in detail. You can go through the issue and nectar of instructions, the book. Same thing, you will have a good revision when you go to Bhakti Shastri. Yeah. Okay, any questions related to today's chapter? You may ask. Otherwise, we can close. Hare Krishna. No questions?
Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
I don't have any doubts regarding today's session, Mataji, but I have a general doubt. Yeah, I had a japa mala that I was using before. Yeah, and then I changed my japa mala when I ordered it, and I didn't know how to dispose my other japa mala. I don't know how to dispose. Yeah, I wanted to ask if there's any particular way to dispose the japa mala.
Where did you buy that Japamala? Earlier one?
Earlier, I bought it in ISKCON store only, but I bought it online, my first Japamala, and it didn't come very well. So what I did was I went by myself and second
But
time.
it is having all the 108 beads, na?
It has all the 108 beads, yes.
Yeah, you can use as a spare. I mean,
the japa, like the mala that came, it didn't come in a good quality. Like the bead, they're not round beads, they're like kind of like square kind of a beads, yeah, which has. And while doing the japa, it's kind of like cutting my fingers a bit. The mala is a bit rough. It was not
okay.
Yeah, and I didn't want to use that anymore, so I kept it for a very long time. But I just wanted to dispose it. My mom writes Ramakoti, yeah, and she disposes like her previous books in Homam or any yagas or yagnas. So I wanted to know if there's any particular way we can also.
I have no idea, Mataji. I have not heard about it. Maybe you can check in ISKCON when you visit next time.
Yeah,
no idea on that.
I will ask them.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
wanted to ask this from last class itself, but I kept forgetting to do it. Yeah.
Okay, I never heard. I had 2, 3 with me, but I'm just keeping it with me. I mean, initially I had a smaller one, and then later I took the big Tulsi Mala. So, I mean, you send along with book, right? The small one. Maybe you can give to someone. Maybe you best check with someone. Like if they're able to chant, if they will chant, then but check it out, Mataji, in the temple better.
Yes, I will, Mataji, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. No other questions, then we can close. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavavrinda ki jai, Namacharya Das Thakur ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, you can all unmute and we can chant together. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.